what you're speaking of too would be the ideal in a subject-specific classroom, because you could actually set up a whole table of artifacts, for example, on something, because then you can plan so thoroughly for that if you have that opportunity, because then you could really pull inquiry from that, because you're the expert on that. So you can kind of lead them to the inquiry really well, because you're so familiar with the topic. So for me personally, I struggle with that because my area is science. So I could so easily create really well-planned things for that. But when it comes to social studies, it's a lot harder, especially when I have to deal with all the other subject areas too. So I can't plan stuff that's going to grab them as well. And I wish I had time for that, but for me to actually do that, I would literally have to not sleep. Just if they come up with certain questions, I can't answer them.
That's what I was going to say.
And
that's okay.
I'm supposed to facilitate their learning, but if I'm not an expert in that area, it's very difficult for me to guide them that way. It's so much easier when I'm passionate about an area and I'm really good at it, because I can really guide them, and it doesn't take as long either. I mean, granted, of course, for subject areas I don't know, I have to do my own studying too, but it's just it's not as deep of a connection. And the deeper of a connection you build, the more that they learn, the stronger that sticks with them, and the longer it's lifelong learning.
But that's the beauty of inquiry, is you don't have to have all the answers. And in fact, if you take that journey with them and they have certain questions and you get them involved in answering them, it's totally okay. Like, do you know how much I've learned about the idiots that I didn't know? And I mean, that's the incredible part of it. No, but you know what I mean? You have to guide. I think it's okay not to know it all, and that's what I think inquiry is about, is giving you a process. And to be honest with you, you're always getting feedback from them, and like the journey is kind of responsive to what they want to learn about or what questions came up, and it's actually very, very rich. And you can still get to your curriculum expectations, because you don't have to know it all. I know it's hard because you want to, but it's okay not to. And actually using that inquiry model is like the beauty of it all, because it lets you learn together. That's okay. Where I have to increase my, like, if you want to say expertise or understanding is in the application of inquiry and how to set it up and how to help kids, students be successful. And so, because I understand what you're saying, but like, I think collectively, if we get stronger at that, the content stuff kind of takes care of itself, because the students, and not only that, the curriculum, I want to speak to the curriculum too, because it is so rich, and there's like, you can just pull key questions from there that can guide you through the whole thing. But just as, I don't know if I articulated it well, because I think the thing is the content. And I know people want to know the content because you feel like you need to, and I totally get that. But at the same time, if we get really, but if you get really, like, if you develop your understanding and your skills in helping students to be involved in inquiry in a purposeful, meaningful, like, you do have to do a lot of guiding and planning, then the content kind of takes care of itself. Like,
educators are all building the mathematical knowledge, the base for teaching mathematics across Ontario. I think if I've delved deeply into Kathy Fosnett work and looked at the landscape, the trajectory of learning, and tried to see and pinpoint the look for what might kids be doing at this particular point on the trajectory. And that is really helpful as educators. When we invest in our own deeper learning in mathematics, you're right, that foundational piece, so we'll be better educators. But that idea about open questions, that there are many ways, is the same parallel I make to inquire across subject areas, right? We will need to step in when we need to help and step out. That's the differentiating the support piece. You're right, maybe I need an intentional lesson about this. And Marion Small would say that's fine too. Sometimes I'll need to do that. And then step out again and let it be an open question and investigation. And debrief, bring the highlights of the strategies that we're using that are different, right?
You need to give it time. For things to be successful, you have to plan, you have to prepare, of course, you have to implement, then you have to evaluate and see, has this worked? And if not, what could be done better?
I love that reflection though, like, put on the table what you need. Tell people what honestly it is, because I think when we get to that as educators, we at least have a direction to go in
Yeah.
together.
Yes.
And when we
Yeah.
don't have the bravery or
Right.
courage to say, you know, that's not working, that professional learning didn't work before, we need
Yeah.
something different,
Right.
then things will change. So thank you so much for all
Yes,
that.
yes.